Ooh. Is this on? All right, so there are some things that I have learned from watching other creators that made me do my edits more efficiently and faster, and I'm gonna talk about those 5 things right now. So managing your projects is one of the key things for a more effective video editing workflow. By neatly putting your files away in specific folders, you know exactly where your footage is, so you can go back and grab it if you will need it in the future. So that way it will save you a lot of time and a lot of grief, so you don't have to, search all over your computer where your files are. Okay, so this is the way I currently do things. On my external drive, I have a folder specifically for projects that I'm working on. Then I have in that folder, I have another folder with the year date, and in that folder, I have projects for different clients, right? So in those projects, I have separate folders where I have an audio file, where I put my music in, an SFX folder for special effects I'm using on that projects file where the computer, Premiere Pro saves the files and auto saves, and an image folder for pictures and so on, And of course, a video file for the footage I'm using for that specific edit. So also outside of all these files, I have an assets folder with company logos, LUTs, and so on. Right now, this is the most efficient way of me managing my files because if I need some footage down the line for another client, right, I will just come in these files in here because I know exactly where the footage is, right, and I'll pull it out and use it for another project. Oh yeah, another suggestion for me, if you're doing video editing and you're doing a lot of it, you probably need the footage for later, like I said, or maybe, you're just holding on to the projects for whatever reason it is. You should get an external hard drive because, the computer has limited space available, and if you fill that space up really quickly, which you will, especially if you're shooting in 4K footage, you will slow down the computer drastically. So you should get an external hard drive for it. What I am currently using right now is the 4 terabyte, the Seagate drive. I don't know what exactly it's called. It's down in the description below. But down the line, I will definitely buy the WD 28 terabyte disk MyBook Duo, which is gonna be an amazing thing to have, so I can have a lot of footage in there for later, for new projects, whatever it is, right? So in my opinion, the most important part of becoming an efficient and more, faster editor down the line are definitely keyboard shortcuts. So keyboard shortcuts are essentially what it's called, shortcuts for tools, special effects, and certain actions in Premiere Pro. So knowing and using keyboard shortcuts will allow you to edit much faster so you can get more clients in the future. So I'm just gonna show you where the keyboard shortcuts are. So you can find the keyboard shortcuts option in Premiere by clicking on Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts, and you will have all of your keybinds listed there. Here you can change your keybinds to whatever suits you the most. So I don't use all of the keyboard shortcuts on a regular basis, but there are some that I use every time I edit, so I'll mention them right here. So the first one I use a lot while looking through the timeline is the zoom in and zoom out, which I have bound to these keys. So instead of using the line down below, just like that, you would just zoom in and zoom out on the keyboard, right? So the number 2 tool I will mention here is the razor tool. So when I go through my footage and I decide to cut something at a certain point, I will of course use the razor tool, right? Which I have on C for cut. Pretty straightforward. Press C, drag it to the clip you want to cut, and click. Delete the rest, and you're done. So the next ones I will mention are the select tool and the ripple delete. When you are done using the cut tool, you want to go back to the select tool without dragging your mouse over the icon on the left right here. So by doing that, I have my select tool on A. So when I cut with C, I press A and select the certain parts of the cut footage and delete it. So if you want to delete the cut footage and make the rest of the footage automatically stick to it, you would use the ripple delete option. What you basically do is press C to cut the footage, A to select it, and then F to delete that footage and the space it occupied. Okay, so the next one is track forward. So if for some reason by cutting clips you have space left over in the middle of your timeline and you want to stick, the rest of that timeline together to the first part, you would use the track forward, which I have on T, for example. Easy. What you do is just press T, click before all of the clips you want to drag, and just drag them to the rest. If for some reason it doesn't stick, you should enable this option on the left, right here. So I'm very forgetful about stuff sometimes because it's it's wild up here, and I try to remember as much as I can that I should save the projects that I'm working on a regular basis, like every 5 to 10 minutes, by just pressing the Control and S. I usually save when I make big changes in the edit, so I don't lose whatever progress I have made up till that point, right? So the next one is the undo and redo, right? So there's also times I do a certain action I regret and I want to undo it. In that case, I just use the undo keybind, which is basically Control plus Z. If I actually decide later that, oh no, I actually like that, I want to put it back, I just do the redo keybind with the Control Shift plus Z. When I'm done with the footage and I want to export a certain part of it, or maybe even render it, I use the in and out keybind. Simply click on the part you want it to start and press I, just like this, then go to the end of the timeline of the clip you want to end it on and press O. You can also use this option in the source window when you are cutting your footage before you put it on your timeline, like this, for example. If I put it up here and I just do the ins and outs, click and drag down to the timeline, and that's basically it, right? And of course, the last thing that I mostly use is the export keybind. Instead of going into the, file, export, media, and so on, you simply press the Control Alt plus M, and the window for the export will pop up, and then you fix up whatever settings you want to export it in, and that's basically it. Okay, this is it in short for the keybind, so let's move on to number 3. So another thing that I have learned that really helped me a lot is just how to organize my timeline. And what I basically do is just use my keybinds and color the certain aspects of the timeline, so I know exactly where my B-roll is, my A-roll is, and special effects, sounds, and so on. And I actually also organize my timeline by naming certain parts of it. So let me show you what I mean. So on the left side of the timeline, you have all of these audio and video tracks, right? What I do is just go down here and, for example, name one main video, second one is B-roll, and so on. I do the same for the audio section by doing the first one like main audio or speech. Second one is sound effects, and the third one is usually music, for example. Then I go into the keybinds I was talking about, right? So all of the main recorded clips and the audio attached to it, I just normally leave it at the normal blue color. And all of the B-roll and B-roll sounds I color as yellow, or on key, I have it on key 2, for example. And graphics are key 6, which is pink, and 7 for purple, for that matter. right? But you know, this is just the way I do it. You can do it, you know, however you would like. So you can basically make your editing workflow suit you in a way. So just another suggestion from my side. So tip 4 is something that should have been included as step 1, to be honest, which is basically just fixing up your workspaces in Premiere Pro. I came in to Premiere Pro and used the existing workspaces and, you know, fixed them up to my liking so I can use them in my editing workflow. What I basically did is just go into workspaces and put them in specific order in which I do my editing in. So for example, the first workspace is just simple editing, the second one is coloring, the third one is audio, and so on and so on. So by doing that, it makes my editing much smoother and faster. So you know, let me just show you what I basically did. So if you go into Premiere and go on Window, then Workspaces, you will see the option to edit the workspaces, right? So here you can manage or decide what will show up on your workspaces. So on top, right? And on that bar on the top. So what I basically did was go and check the existing workspaces and set them up just how I liked them. Just move the certain parts of it if there wasn't a part in that I needed. For example, if I wanted to put in the effects part of it or the source window or whatever it is, right? I just went in here and clicked on workspaces, I mean the source window, you know, just put it in and then rearrange it the way I wanted to rearrange it, the way I needed it and the way I use it, and that's basically it. And the others, I just pulled down into the do not show option. So you can come back in here and switch things around and, you know, mix it up however you like it. It's, you know, depending on you. This is just the way I do it. And it really helped me a lot down the line. So it's basically, you know, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and so on. So that's how I do stuff. That's, you know, how I fix stuff up. Okay, so the last tip is basically more of a lifestyle one than an editing one, to be honest, and that is just remove all distraction and just take breaks, right? So I tend to overdo my editing stuff because, you know, I'm just sitting at the computer for hours and hours and hours, not realizing what time it is, and I don't take any breaks just because I'm so focused and I want to finish the project as soon as possible. That can make me so tired that I can't edit anymore, and I just want to finish it, just to finish it, you know, and the creativity basically just goes out the window. That's not a good thing for anybody, not just me, right? You should take frequent breaks, you know, maybe get some water, play with the kid, stretch a little bit, whatever it is, just to break the cycle, you know, so it keeps you fresh so you can work on later. Or maybe if you're just too tired, just take a good night's sleep and do it tomorrow again, so you don't overdo it. You really shouldn't overdo it, because for me, for example, I don't know about you, but for me, for example, when I overdo it, I just, as I said before, I just want to finish the edit. I'm not thinking of how should I make it better. It's just, oh, I want it done, and that's it, basically, you know. And you know, that's how I know when I need a break, to be honest. I usually also put my phone away somewhere in a different room, or just turn it off, you know, so it doesn't distract me. So all of the social media notifications don't just pop up all the time, you know. It pulls you and you want to see who wrote something, you know. When you're editing, you're editing. When you're working, period. That's it, you know. So that's why I put my phone, when I usually put my phone away, and, you know, just work on the edit. So in short, schedule your editing at certain times of the day, daily, of course. You know, you got to work on your craft. Remove all distractions, you know, like social media stuff from your phone, and take frequent breaks. So, you know, you just break the cycle, and, you know, you're fresh when you're doing your editing, and not just doing it because, you know, you want to finish it, whatever it is. But that also depends on, you know, how much time you need for a certain project to do for a client, and so on, you know. So schedule in that kind of manner. You know, overdoing it and burning out from editing can happen. It happened to me more than once, so I'm not doing that anymore, and I'm more productive, and I do way more than I did before. So just a suggestion from my side. Okay, this is it for this video, guys. I just hope you got some good value from it, and it will help you in your editing workflow down the line. Will do my best and do as many videos as I can for you guys, so you can basically learn the same things that I'm learning along the way. It's gonna be a long road, and gonna be a lot of fun with you guys hanging around. So whatever you are interested in or have a question about, drop a comment down below. Otherwise, I guess I'll see you in the next one.